Imagine for a moment that your mind is like a theater. Every single day, thoughts are auditioning for a role on your stage. Some are loud, demanding, and critical. Others are quiet whispers of possibility, strength, and peace. The truth is, you are the director of this show, but most of us forget that we're in charge. We end up letting the loudest, most negative voices take the spotlight, and they shape how we feel, how we act, and ultimately, how much peace and power we get to experience in our lives. Taking back your peace and power starts right here, in your mind. It begins with the awareness that no one else controls the way you interpret the world but you. Life is going to throw things at you that you don't expect, setbacks, disappointments, people who let you down, circumstances that feel unfair. You can't always control what happens, but you can absolutely control what those events mean to you. And the meaning you attach is what determines whether you stay stuck in pain or move forward with power. Think about the last time you got upset or anxious. Chances are, it wasn't the situation itself that robbed you of your peace. It was the story you told yourself about it. Maybe you convinced yourself it was the end of something important. Maybe you decided it meant you weren't good enough. Maybe you focused so much on what you couldn't control that you forgot what you could. That's how peace slips away, quietly in the background of your own thoughts, until you realize you've given your energy to a narrative that doesn't serve you. Now, imagine the opposite. Imagine being able to stop in the middle of that storm and ask yourself one simple question. What else could this mean? That single shift opens the door to peace because it reminds you that there is always another way to interpret reality. Instead of "I failed," you can see it as "I'm learning." Instead of "this door closed," you can see it as "I'm being redirected." The external event doesn't change, but the power you feel inside does, because you've taken back control of the meaning. And here's something I want you to hear loud and clear. Where your focus goes, your feelings follow. Feelings follow. If you focus on everything that's wrong, you're going to feel powerless. If you focus on what's possible, on what's within your reach, on what's still good, your mind naturally creates peace. The quality of your life is shaped by what you choose to magnify. Every single time you wake up, you have the choice. Do I feed the thought that steals my peace, or do I feed the thought that gives me strength? This isn't about pretending life is perfect or denying that challenges exist. It's about reclaiming your position as the director of your own mind. You decide which thoughts take center stage, and you decide which ones get cut from the script. That's the power you've always had, even if you've forgotten. Let me tell you something. You can train your mind to serve you, just like you train a muscle in the gym. And just like the gym, it takes consistency. One of the simplest tools is to interrupt the thought pattern that drains you. When you catch yourself spiraling in negativity, stop and shift your body. Stand up, move, shake your shoulders, take a deep breath. Your body and mind are deeply connected, and when you move differently, your state changes instantly. From that place, it's so much easier to redirect your focus to something empowering. Another powerful practice is gratitude. And I'm not talking about writing a list you never feel. I'm talking about actually pausing and allowing yourself to feel thankful for something small, something real. Gratitude grounds you in the present moment, and the present is where peace lives. You can't feel stressed and grateful at the same time. It's impossible. So when you train your brain to look for what's good, even in the middle of chaos, you strengthen your ability to stay in your power. Sometimes taking back your peace requires you to speak to yourself in a way you never have before. You might need to remind yourself, I am stronger than this moment. I've gotten through worse. I'm still here, and that means I'm capable of moving forward. Those words aren't just empty affirmations. They are commands to your nervous system, signals that redirect your energy from fear into strength. And let's be real, this isn't something you do once and then you're done. Life will test you again and again. But each time you choose to master your mindset, each time you refuse to hand over your peace to circumstances you can't control, you grow stronger. You become more resilient. You start to feel that quiet confidence that no matter what happens, you can handle it. And that confidence is the very definition of power. So when you feel like the world is pulling you in 100 directions, when the noise is so loud you can't hear your own voice, pause and remember this. Your peace is not lost. It's simply misplaced. It's still inside you, waiting for you to wreck your focus and claim it again. That is how you begin to take back your peace and your power, by mastering your mind and choosing thoughts that serve the life you want, not the life you fear. Because the truth is, the moment you choose to control your focus, you begin to control your life. Think about the last time you felt completely drained, not just tired but depleted, like every ounce of motivation had been pulled out of you. Maybe it was after a stressful day at work, maybe after dealing with people who left you feeling heavy, or maybe it was simply the weight of your own thoughts wearing you down. That feeling isn't just about being low on sleep or having too much to do, it's about energy. And when you don't have energy, peace and power are impossible to hold on to. That's why reclaiming your energy is one of the most important steps in taking your life back. Energy isn't just physical, it's mental, emotional, and spiritual. Every interaction, every choice, every thought either gives you energy or drains it. The challenge is that most of us go through our days on autopilot, unaware of how much energy we're giving away to things, people, and patterns that don't deserve it. We hand it out like it's unlimited, and then we wonder why we feel exhausted, anxious, or stuck. But here's the truth. Your energy is your most valuable currency, and you have to learn how to protect it, recharge it, and invest it wisely. Let's start with the basics, your body. You cannot expect to feel powerful and peaceful if your body is running on fumes. And yet, how often do we push ourselves to the edge, skipping rest, ignoring movement, fueling ourselves with sugar and caffeine instead of real nourishment? Your body is the foundation for your emotional and mental state. When you move it, you shift your chemistry. That's why something as simple as standing tall, taking 3 deep breaths, and shaking out your shoulders can instantly change how you feel. Energy is state, and state is movement. If you want to reclaim your energy, you have to make movement non-negotiable. Not because it's exercise, but because it's oxygen, it's vitality, it's life. Now, let's talk about the energy you allow into your environment. Every person you interact with is either an energy giver or an energy taker. You know exactly who the drainers are. The ones who always complain, always find the problem, always leave you feeling like you need a shower after talking to them. And then there are the people who light you up, who challenge you, who remind you of what's possible. If you want to reclaim your peace, you need to get honest about who gets access to you. Because the truth is, peace can't exist where your boundaries are weak. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you are saying no to your own energy. And it's not just about people. It's about habits. How much time do you spend scrolling, comparing yourself, filling your brain with noise that leaves you empty? How often do you start your morning by checking email or social media instead of giving yourself even 5 minutes to set your intention? These little patterns may feel harmless, but they add up. They chip away at your energy until you're running on scraps. Reclaiming your energy means reclaiming your rituals. It means deciding, I will no longer start my day with distraction. I will no longer let my phone dictate my mood before I've even had a chance to decide who I want to be today. And here's something most people miss. Reclaiming your energy isn't just about cutting out the drains. It's about actively fueling yourself with practices that expand you. Gratitude, breathwork, meditation, journaling, these aren't just buzzwords. They are ways to plug yourself back into the source. Imagine if you treated your energy like your phone battery. You'd never let it hit 0% if you knew you had an important call coming. So why do we let our own energy hit 0 before we decide to charge? You can't wait until you're completely depleted. You have to build in moments every single day that recharge you before you need it. And let me tell you something else. Your energy is contagious. Your energy is contagious. When you walk into a room lit up, centered, full of vitality, you elevate everyone around you. People feel it. Opportunities open. You start attracting experiences that match the frequency you're carrying. But when you walk around depleted, heavy, resentful, you don't just suffer. You pass that on to the people closest to you. And deep down, you know that's not who you want to be. So the real question is this. How much longer are you willing to keep giving your power to things that drain you? How much longer will you keep ignoring your body, tolerating energy vampires, clinging to habits that rob you of your vitality? Because the truth is, your peace depends on your energy. Without it, you'll always feel like you're fighting uphill. But with it, you'll find yourself handling challenges with clarity, meeting stress with strength, and showing up for life with the kind of presence that feels unshakable. Taking back your peace and power is not just about managing your thoughts. It's about fueling the system that carries those thoughts. You are the keeper of your energy, and no one else has the right to take it from you unless you hand it over. When you decide to protect it, when you decide to move your body, breathe deeply, raise your standards for who and what gets access to you, that's when you step into a state of true power. Because the truth is, when you reclaim your energy, you reclaim your life. Picture this. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your values, every time you allow someone to cross a line you never wanted crossed, every time you keep quiet when you want to speak up, you are handing over a piece of your peace and your power. It may feel small in the moment, but it's like tiny leaks in a bucket. Before you know it, you're running on empty, not because life is too much, but because you've given yourself away in places that don't deserve you. The truth is, peace and power are not found in pleasing everyone else. They are found in the standards you set for your own life. Standards are not about being rigid or selfish. They are about deciding what is acceptable and what is not. They are about saying, this is who I am, this is what I value, and this is how I expect to be treated. Without standards, you drift. With standards, you anchor. But here's the hard part. Setting boundaries and raising your standards will make some people uncomfortable. And that's okay, because the only people who will resist your boundaries are the ones who benefited from you not having them. Think about that. When you start protecting your peace, when you start saying no, when you start honoring your time and your energy, the wrong people will fall away. And that's not loss, that's alignment. That's making space for the relationships and opportunities that actually serve you. So let's talk about the word no. No is not rejection. No is not selfish. No is not unkind. No is a complete sentence. No is the doorway to your peace. When you say no to what doesn't align, you are saying yes to what matters. But most of us struggle with this word because we've been conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to being agreeable, available, or accommodating. The problem is, peace cannot survive in a life built on pleasing others. Power cannot survive in a life where you're constantly betraying yourself. And let's be honest, boundaries are not just about other people, they're about you. How often do you break your own promises? How often do you tell yourself you're going to do something, then let it slide? Every time you do that, you send yourself a message. My word doesn't matter. That erodes trust with yourself. And the foundation of peace and power is self-trust. When you decide that your own commitments are non-negotiable, you start to build a deep inner confidence that changes the way you show up in the world. Here's a question I want you to ask yourself. What have I been tolerating that I know is costing me my peace? Sit with that, because somewhere in your life, there's a conversation you've been avoiding, a decision you've been putting off, a line you've been letting people cross. And every day you delay, the cost gets higher. The moment you draw that line, the moment you stop negotiating with your own worth, you will feel a shift. That weight you've been carrying will begin to lift, not because the world changed, but because you decided to honor yourself. Now, this doesn't mean you walk around shutting everyone out or becoming cold. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors. They are how you teach people how to treat you. They are how you create space for peace to breathe and for power to grow. When you set a boundary, you are saying, I love myself enough to protect my energy, and I respect you enough to be clear about what I need. That is strength. That is maturity. That is leadership. And let me tell you, when you raise your standards, you raise your life. The world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you tolerate. If you tolerate disrespect, you'll keep getting it. If you tolerate chaos, you'll live in it. But the moment you raise your standards and hold firm, everything around you begins to shift. Relationships change. Opportunities shift. Your entire reality reorganizes itself to meet the level you've set. Yes, it will be uncomfortable at first. Yes, people may not understand, but peace is worth the discomfort. Power is worth the misunderstanding. Because what's the alternative? Living in a constant state of resentment, exhaustion, and self-betrayal? That's too high a price to pay. So I want you to think about the one boundary you've been afraid to set, the one standard you know you need to raise. What would your life look like if you finally did it? What kind of energy would come back to you? What kind of freedom would you feel? Because the moment you draw that line, the moment you stop apologizing for protecting your peace, you will feel yourself step back into your power. And here's the truth. The most powerful life you can live is one where you are no longer available for anything that steals your peace. Imagine waking up in the morning with this deep sense of clarity, not just about what you have to do today, but about why you're doing it. Imagine carrying that calm certainty with you. So even when the day throws curveballs, you're not rattled because you know where you're going and who you're becoming. That's what happens when you live with purpose. That's what happens when you shift from chasing achievements to creating meaning. Peace and power don't come from checking boxes on a to-do list. They come from aligning your actions with something bigger than yourself. The truth is, without purpose, it doesn't matter how much success you rack up. You'll still feel empty. You can have the job, the car, the house, the recognition. But if you don't feel like your life matters, like you're contributing something real, then peace will always slip through your fingers. Power will always feel like something you have to prove instead of something you simply embody. Purpose is the anchor that holds you steady when everything else feels uncertain. But let's strip away the pressure for a second. Living with purpose doesn't mean you have to have it all figured out. It doesn't mean you need to quit your job tomorrow, or start a foundation, or change the entire world overnight. Purpose can start small. Purpose can start right where you are, with what's in your hands today. It's about asking yourself, how can I use what I've been given to make things better, even in the smallest way? Sometimes your purpose is to show up for your kids with patience. Sometimes it's to bring light to your workplace. Sometimes it's simply to be kind to yourself so you can pour into others from a place of wholeness. And here's where contribution comes in. Because the fastest way to reclaim peace when you feel powerless is to shift the focus outward. When you serve, when you give, when you lift someone else, you remind yourself that your life has weight, that you matter. Contribution pulls you out of your head and into your heart. It interrupts anxiety, comparison, and doubt because it puts you in motion, connected to something beyond yourself. And that connection, that sense of significance, is where true fulfillment lives. Think about a time when you helped someone, even in a small way. Maybe you gave advice that shifted their perspective. Maybe you held space for someone who was struggling. Maybe you simply smiled at a stranger who needed to be seen. Didn't it feel good? Didn't it feel right? That's because our nervous systems are wired to thrive on contribution. It's not about ego, it's about alignment. We are built to create, to connect, to lift each other. And when you live in that space, peace follows naturally because you are no longer at war with yourself. You are living in flow with your higher calling. But here's the challenge. Most people hold back from living with purpose because they think it has to be perfect. They wait until they have more money, more time, more clarity. They wait until they feel ready. But waiting is the enemy of peace. Purpose doesn't require perfection. It requires action. You don't need the entire staircase to take the first step. You just need to begin. And when you begin, something shifts inside of you. Your energy lifts. Your confidence grows. You start to feel the quiet strength that comes from living in alignment, and that strength is unshakable. And yes, living with purpose will demand courage. It will demand that you stop settling, that you stop living on autopilot, that you stop chasing someone else's version of success. It will ask you to look honestly at your life and ask, is this really who I want to be? Is this really what I want to stand for? And if the answer is no, then you have a decision to make, because peace doesn't live in pretending. Power doesn't live in settling. Both live in truth. And here's the most beautiful part. When you choose purpose, when